Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. So happy to have you here.
If you hear any chomping in the background, that's, I think, is that Sita behind us doing that?
That's Sita chomping on some kind of bones, sure.
Yes, she gets so happy with her bones in the morning.
She does. She loves them.
Yes, absolutely. So this is Heart's Home, and just so you guys know, this is the newest channel that we did. We were talking about have you lived before, and the reincarnation, and just it's a fascinating subject, and it's great to see what people are sharing. That there's quite a few people that do remember past lives, and this will become the norm as we go deeper and deeper into the Bronze Age and get away from that Dark Age mentality. And over on Evolutionary Energy Arts, we want to thank everybody for your support, our Patreons, and these are our newest.
Yes, thank you so much to Michael and Lauren. You guys really help keep us going. You make it possible for us to get this information out there. And in a critical time where things are really, really changing, we're able to speak a little freely over there on Patreon, which is nice.
And no, this is not a zombie apocalypse. Well, it kind of is, but no, this is just huge lines for the new iPhone 15 at Dubai's Mall of Emirates. Sales started today and the zombies were out.
Oh, that's terrible.
I mean, it's incredible, but the reality is, they're just hand and foot clawing, trying to get this technology. And I don't think they understand the real purpose behind it.
No, I don't think they understand the purpose, and they're probably in a place, if they wanted this bad, they're not in a place, if they understood the purpose, that they would really shun away from it anyway. These are people, they want what they want, and it doesn't really matter what you tell them. It's deliberately manipulated to get people to want this so badly. I mean, I look at it, and it's just so sad. They're stuck in that place of the 3D thinking this one thing is going to change their world. I don't understand this behavior.
It gets me thinking about like Black Friday sales and stuff, and the whole spirit of Christmas. And even if we understand the bigger picture with Christmas and how it really came about, and again, everything has kind of quote unquote pagan roots, quote unquote. And what do we see? We see mad frenzies for things. It's all about the system. The system cultivates that. Here we go. We have a massive traffic jam going on in Austin, Texas. It's all full of driverless cars. Yeah, 20 Cruise-operated Chevy Bolts are causing mayhem because, I guess the AI systems are not working properly. Hey, a couple kinks in the system. Oh, the system has a lot of kinks in it. But one thing they are good at is starting wars and conflicts, and this is over in Kosovo, as you see people that look very, very trained coming in and causing havoc. Yeah, absolutely. This is what the system does, because the system banks on the fact that there will be people that will say, I got to take care of my own, and not care about how they take care of their own. And they'll go in and unfortunately do things that will impact others in a negative way. And we are always being purposefully driven into these different little groupings. We got to start to think about the bigger picture. And again, there is so much terror with a one world order. Now, the one world order that we're being driven into, we should be very concerned about. That one world order is all about complete slavery with no illusion of freedoms. Yet at the same time, we need to somehow get past the apparent differences, the differences that are really utilized for the benefit of the few, to take advantage of the benefit of the many, I should say. We got to recognize that. As you see, the crime stats from France, 69% of robberies, violent crimes, and sexual assaults on public transport are done by foreigners. And in fact, it was 52% from people that have recently come from Africa. Now we're not trying to be divisive. We're trying to point out the fact that the system utilizes people that are truly subjected to poverty, to war, to all types of extreme hardship, to get them irritated, mad, angry, jealous, envious, all these negative emotions. They're cultivated, and then they're directed and guided to go and take it out on other humans in one way, shape, or form. It's so much really, truly like the little devil on one shoulder whispering in the ear saying, look at them. They're able to enjoy a nice life where they are. They could sit at an outdoor cafe, order a glass of wine and some hors d'oeuvres, and enjoy themselves, and you can't. Now, this is exactly what the system does. It dangles carrots out in front that lead off cliffs. And again, many people understand the bigger purpose, and we're going to go into a much greater in-depth, deeper insight into everything that's going on with the migration issues that are happening right now from a historical perspective, literally from a biblical perspective, because the system is not inventive. It just does the same thing over and over and over again. And it rewrites history. So we look at it from a viewpoint that's not really accurate. It's the controller viewpoint. So when you see all this and you see the chaos that's going on, again, you have to recognize what has happened to people that are leaving countries like Venezuela with that economic collapse. It was horrible. And again, subject to so many different sanctions led by the U.S. and NATO countries. How about the nonstop war in Syria? How about the nonstop war in Afghanistan or in Iraq? What about the war in Yemen and the millions of people that on the brink of starvation while there's war? And so many of us in the Western countries might not even be aware that this is going on. All the while, it's causing anger and hatred in those countries of people in the U.S. and in the NATO countries.
Mm-hmm. And it's so incredibly embedded. It makes me sad to see how many children are really affected, because they need the children to be affected. That's going to help them implement their plans. And how many children were affected when countries go poor and there's just nothing to eat, and these children are witnessing, their brothers and sisters starving, and mom and dad doing so desperate to bring in food. And then whose fault is that? That stays with that child. That really anchors deep into their heart chakra, and they want some type of retribution. They want somebody to pay for that. So it's grooming from such a small age.
Yeah, absolutely. And as Cindy does so many times, she touches directly on something that I was just reading last night, and it's like a huge, massive aha. And sometimes, yes, the controllers will wait a whole generation before they let loose, because they have to have they have to have the generation that remembers how things really happened be gone before they can bring in the next wave. And this is what we're talking about. We're talking about generations. And that's something that I just can't stress enough. And I'm going to go into a lot more detail. We could do a totally different video here right now. But I wanted to bring out some points here. And the U.S. planning military base in disputed territory right next to Venezuela and Guyana. And one thing that's key here, this is from RT, of course it's a Russian paper, but you'll find that, you'll find different takes slightly, but the same news. And again, use discernment. Well, it's interesting how it talks about Guyana is really just, it's a corporate territory. It's almost like it's owned by ExxonMobil. Yeah, Total Energies and other firms. Absolutely. It's about oil permits, and it's all about utilizing resources. And this is a game to the controllers. This is a game to the real controllers. It's nothing but a chess game. They play Risk with our lives. You guys remember Risk? Yeah, absolutely. And it's all right there, actually, in the biblical and the pre-biblical tales, the writings that come before the Bible was put together. But it's all right there. We can see it clearly. Alzheimer's now a leading cause of death in the U.S., becoming more and more prevalent. The best thing you could say about the modern medical system is it's failing miserably. That's about the best thing you could say. That's the best thing you could say. It's failing utterly. It's failing miserably. As people we're losing life expectancy by years. It's going in reverse. And the same thing when we're talking about fertility rates. And now we know there's going to be an absolute population crash. There's going to be way less people on the planet as we move farther out in time. 2030 will have much fewer people than we do currently. And it's probably going to keep going that way for a while. It's the system. The system, it just doesn't work. But what's becoming wonderfully obvious is that the controllers are not who we see. And now more and more people are starting to recognize, as you see, what the bleep is going on. These are not even the same people, and we've talked about this. But it's deep. It's really deep. And this is not anything new. It's not just that this is going on now. This has always gone on. This is the thing. These are puppets on strings. And this is from the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, the Atlantean. In the form of man, they amongst us, but only to sight where they are as men. Serpent-headed when the glamour was lifted, but appearing as men among men. Crept they into councils, taking forms that they were like unto men. Slaying by their arts the chiefs of the kingdoms, taking their form and ruling over man. Only by magic could they be discovered, only by sound could their faces be seen. Sought they from the kingdom of shadows to destroy man and rule in his place. So, again, this is the subject of multiple videos, and we have done them in the past, and we could go deeper in again. What we get from the guides, from remote viewing, from just comparing all these different sources all over the world. It's not something that was unknown to most of the indigenous people. Oh no, they understood the bigger picture. They understood that these beings are totally puppets on strings. They're being controlled. And when you look to some of them, like when we look to, JB here, the real JB, the real Slim Shady, can't stand up because he's been in the grave for years.
Right, and looking at those tablets really tell so much about the vibration of information, where we're at, where we're headed, and we can see, obviously, that these controllers are not able to hold their stuff together. They're not able to hold their form. And we've done some videos and that show some really weird stuff, like, stuff going on in necks and looking like a lizard. And this is very real. And as we move up in vibration, they are going to find it more and more difficult for people to buy their story on many different levels. They're going to find it more difficult to have their faces stay in the form that they're in, because guess what? We're going to see from totally different perspectives. We are going to have new understandings that are shrouded in truth. And we're going to have our freedom back. And this is where they're at. They're really scampering. They're holding on as tight as they can. As pathetic as it might look, they're going to try to bitter end to hold control.
Absolutely. And more people will be gaining these apparently abnormal, but in fact, very, very normal human abilities of perception to see right through. As you see these pictures taking just like 5 hours apart. She must have gone to the plastic surgeon that day or something. We've gotten and we've shared with you guys that she's not with us anymore on the earth plane. The real one is no longer here.
And, I mean, what does that do for them? What's the purpose in this? Well, they're able to drive their rickety car down the road a little bit further. It really doesn't do anything other than that. But they need these beings here to fulfill certain purposes. And when their purpose is fulfilled, well, then they could go. But keep in mind that they're using everything as puppets in such a literal sense. It's really quite frightening.
It is. It's all been a dog and pony show, and so, when I see comments, and it's so common for people to say, well, Joe's not really president. It's really, Obama moving the strings. It's like, no, that's just another puppet. We don't really see the real controllers, though we do see some humans that are in higher positions than others. And really, if we are looking at who are, like, say, 4 of the highest powered ones, then we would really have Gil Bates, and we would really have, George S., and we would have, the ones that we were just talking about on that last video about the 4 horsemen. And, there was a comment, cherry picking the Bible terms. The Bible is cherry picked. Consistently. It's nothing but a cherry picking. And, again, I think we're going to end up doing a long series. We'll intermingle it with other stuff. It's going to go up on Evolutionary, but it's going to, I've been thinking for a long time about doing a series of maybe 100 videos eventually, just to show you how cherry picked it is, because the evidence is overwhelming. And, again, this is all part of their paradigm. It's all part of their paradigm. It's all been an illusion. It's all been an illusion. We started out looking at Fetterman there, and again, will the real Slim Shady please stand up? It's just, it doesn't really matter. And that's part of it. And, Rand Paul was wearing a bathrobe to work because Fetterman showed up that way. Which one? I mean, they're so different. At this point, it's kind of funny, isn't it? I mean, they're all so different. Anybody should be able to see this, but in some ways, I feel that it's a testing of their powers of glamoury, and also how effective the aluminum and the barium is in what they're dropping from the clouds all the time, because that is definitely affecting brain synapses, and we are not firing on all cylinders. They want to see how good a job they've done with the fluoride, how good a job they've done blasting people's flora in their bodies with their anti-life. Again, antibiotics literally means anti-life. All this affects us. The gut is the big brain, so to speak. And so many people don't have the ability to tap into those quote-unquote gut feelings and knowings. And they're really then just, like we were starting out with, kind of zombies, kind of mindless, just operating on basic needs and desires. As we look at the Crypt Keeper here, somebody said, well, he looks like Lurch Adams. Yeah, he really does. He does look like Lurch a lot. Wait a minute. What happened? And here you see, this is, who is this? Wait a minute. Yeah. It's so beyond obvious. And here, and this is what started me on this track this morning. This is Alex Jones. Or is it? Is it? Because again, feel into the energy. They're all actors. Now, why would Alex Jones, who's been talking about exposing the system, be an actor? Because what does he do? He sells patriotism. He sells patriotism. Be proud to be an American, right? and kind of also on the Christian thing. As long as you remain locked into one of their paradigms, they got you. This is Bill Hicks, and that's Alex Jones. Bill Hicks was a comedian. Alex Jones is still a comedian. Alex Hicks and Bill Jones, when we feel into the energy is really the same. So did Bill Hicks die, or did he just, assume a new identity? As you see the bone structure and the teeth. But feel into the energy. You feel into the energy. We know Cindy's very good at feeling into the energy. What do you feel?
Well, when I see individuals, I'm able to feel the individual energy and translate what that energy feels like in my body. When I look at them, there's no individual line cut down the middle. Like, I can't discern one personality from the next personality. They're very, very, very much the same. And I allow the information to go through me, and then I allow it to split itself up. So it's not really, it sounds strange, it's not really a process of logical thinking. It's like looking at the energy and then allowing that information to float through you without any other things going on, any other processes. So looking at this, it's just one big stone wall of energy. It doesn't go one way or the other. It's just one.
And we were talking about reincarnation, and we were looking at different celebrities, and like we were looking at Keanu Reeves and somebody that looked like him in a past life, and a couple of others, and there Cindy was tapping in and feeling, no, these are very, very distinct beings, very, very distinct souls. But with this energy is quite different. So, again, Bill Hicks, he died on February 26, 1994, Little Rock, Arkansas, and, was 32 years old. And you think about it, it's just reborn as a new personality. And, again, when you look to the Gil Bates of the world, his ties to the Rockefellers have been like just swept away. They control the internet. I mean, who's Gil Bates? I mean, Microsoft. They control the internet, and of course the control system controls the history. They're always rewriting the history, so it's no biggie for them to do these things.
No, they're very good at it, and again, there's nothing new under the sun. So this is the cyclical nature of the controllers, where they already know what they need to do. They already know what they're going to do. They have us in a state of manipulation where, we just simply don't know any better. But the problem is they are really trying to affect the upper chakras. It's those upper chakras that are expanding and are becoming more obvious that humans are rising up in vibration. So what do? They attack the upper chakras through brain disease, through heart disease, through all kinds of putting all kinds of horrible stuff in our stomachs. The food that we eat, it's just going to wipe out those microbiomes that we need so desperately to make certain connections. That's what they do, but they've known what they need to do in a long time. That's why it's so dangerous for us to be helping people wake up, because then all of a sudden you see past the veil, you see past the BS, and you start developing yourself with the understanding that you're a sovereign being. You're not tied up in some book where you have to do certain things. You break away from that, and that's really a frightening thing. So also what they've done in the setup is they have people controlling people. So if you take a step out of the norm, you have 10 other people running up saying, oh, I'm just concerned for you. Oh, I'm scared that Satan is going to get you, or, oh, you're a sinner. And they have all these reasons to just pull you back into the herd. But no, once that awakening starts, you're kind of done with it all. And you can't sit around in a crowd of people and continue to listen to them because it's just too much for you to handle. The truth has gotten you, and it's going to allow you to free yourself.
So once you see something, once you know, you can't unsee this. You just can't unsee this. So again, when you see the persecution of Alex Jones, you recognize that's just a play. When we see the persecution of 45, I understand some people have got all their hopes pinned on 45. It's still part of the play. This is all a script. They even tell us that with the holy, full of holes, script. Holes, holy, script. The awakening. It's not always easy, but it should be easy enough to figure out. This little kitty thinks that he wants to see what's inside the cup there as he looks at the fleur de lis. And, again, that's another little interesting symbol in and of itself. Just a kitty, being curious. Well, yes, we are all coming out with some pretty interesting revelations in these days. As always, thanks for your support. If you guys feel so inclined, please do join us on Patreon. Unique videos over there that we don't put anywhere else. Much love, God bless, and namaste.
Namaste.